Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on my channel. I'm Adam and welcome to the Simpsons Season 2 review. My last video ended up being nearly 45 minutes long and I'm trying to have a quicker video this time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut down on the explaining part for most of it and just go to each episode and give my opinion on the episode as well as the scores, and then move on to the next one. So, scores, total, opinion, next one. So hopefully this will be a bit quicker because I've got 22 episodes to go through this time. And I don't want to have this video go over an hour long. So now, and I bought myself a drink this time, so yay. Let's get into this. Bear in mind, everything that's going to be said from this point on is my opinion. So, starting off season 2, we got episode 1, which is Bart Gets an F. Story is a 9 out of 10, humour is a 7 out of 10, sentimentality is 9 out of 10, and enjoyment is 9 out of 10. I thoroughly love this episode. This episode is funny at most points of it, and the sentimentality, the look of utter sadness and defeat on Bart's face at the end of the episode. You can tell he generally tried his hardest to study for this test, and to fail again, oh god, I feel so bad for him. Oh, total is 34 out of 40, by the way. But Bart Gets an F, top tier episode. Episode number 2, Simpson and Delilah. Story, 5 out of 10. Humour, 4 out of 10. Sentimentality, 5 out of 10. And enjoyment, 4 out of 10. Total, 18 out of 40. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this episode, and I'm sure I would have liked it if it was any other place in this season. But as it's the episode directly after one of the best episodes of the entirety of The Simpsons, unfortunately, that's where I faltered, because it was going to be nowhere near as good as Bart Gets an F. Episode 3 is Treehouse of Horror. Story, 7 out of 10. That's including all 3 of the stories. Humour, 5 out of 10. Sentimentality, 2 out of 10. Enjoyment, 6 out of 10. Total, 20 out of 40. Now, I like the stories for this Treehouse of Horror, especially The Raven. I love the atmosphere it sets there. Hungry Are the Damned is a fun, it's not what you expect story. And Bad Dream House, honestly, it's the funniest of all 3 of them. And that's where most of the humour is. Sentimentality, there isn't any sentimentality. It's Treehouse of Horror, so there's not going to be any. Enjoyment is 6 out of 10. I enjoy this episode, especially The Raven. The Raven has the best atmosphere it sets, and I just love the overall feeling of presence, plus the comedic humour that's added in from Bart, the Raven, and even James Earl Jones is, yeah. Total, I already said the total. Episode 4, 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Story is a 6 out of 10, humour is a 5 out of 10, sentimentality is a 3 out of 10, and enjoyment is 6 out of 10. I like the whole idea of Mr. Burns running for governor, but then being defeated from his own creation, being Blinky the Three-Eyed Fish. Sentimentality, there's none in there. But overall, I think it's a good episode, and I think I forgot to do the total for that episode, so it's 20 out of 40. Episode 5 is Dancing Homer. Story is 5 out of 10, humor's 5 out of 10, sentimentality is 3 out of 10, and enjoyment is 5 out of 10. Total, 18 out of 40. This episode is just a kind of, hey, this filler episode, we're just going to mess around, make Homer look like an absolute jackass. It's okay, I guess. Apart from Bart Gets an F, all the other episodes have not been that good so far. So, Yay, season 2. You're setting off a very low bar. Episode 6 is Dead Puss in Society. Story is 6 out of 10, humour's 7 out of 10, sentimentality is 4 out of 10, and enjoyment is 7 out of 10. Now, I like the kind of competition that Ned, of all people, had with Homer, along with the bet. And then Todd and Bart just deciding, yeah, we're going to forfeit. We're going to share the victory, making both Homer and Ned having to do their bet, which is mow their lawn, mow each other's lawns in their wives' Sunday dress thing. A weird bet, but it was kind of funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Dead Bus in Society. It's a good episode though. Episode 7 is Bart versus Thanksgiving. Story is 7 out of 10, humour's 6 out of 10, sentimentality is 7 out of 10, and enjoyment is 7 out of 10. Oh my god, I love this episode. Now, as a Brit, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't even know when the exact date is. But I know it's a time for people of America to come together with their family and share what they're thankful for. And seeing this episode just basically have the family separated, well, Bart separated from his family because of something that he doesn't see that he did wrong, but comes to realize that what he did was wrong. I think that's brilliant. And then obviously not being too prideful to apologize in front of his family. But when he realizes what he did wrong, he just apologizes to Lisa. That's good. And then having Homer end up hearing all that, he doesn't do anything. He just tells Marge saying, hey, they're getting along now. And I think that's good. Not just saying, haha, you apologize. No. Just saying, they're all done now. It's all done. I think I forgot to say the total for this episode. Damn it, I can't even do 4 episodes in a row where I don't forget the total. Total for that one is 27 out of 40. Episode 8 is Bart the Daredevil. Story is a 5 out of 10, humour 7 out of 10, sentimentality is 4 out of 10, and enjoyment is 6 out of 10. Now, total is 22 out of 40. Just need to straight up say, the humour is almost entirely from the cliff jumping scene, the gorge jumping scene, where Bart was going to jump Springfield Gorge, but Homer goes down with it, fails and goes down the gorge, gets hoisted back up, hits his head on almost every rock as he comes up, goes into an ambulance drives off, and immediately crashes into a tree. Homer rolls out on the stretcher and goes down the gorge again. That is hilarious. One of the most iconic Simpsons moments, and that's that. That is brilliant. Other than that, though, the episode is just nothing spectacular. That one scene is the best part of it. Episode 9 is Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. Story is 7 out of 10, humour 6 out of 10, sentimentality is 3 out of 10, and enjoyment is 6 out of 10. Total 22 out of 40. Now, I don't really know what I can say about this episode which says I really loved it. I just thought it was okay because it's something that I see at least once in every cartoon where the mother figure's appalled by the violence that is shown on a kid's TV show. Another time this happened was in The Amazing World of Gumball when, well, it wasn't Gumball's mum, it was actually his brother, Darwin, who ensured that everywhere was safe and kind and all that. It was a very weird episode, that was. But this, I think, is a really good rehash of that kind of trope where the mum is enraged by the violence shown in it, and the creators respond how anyone wishes they could. And I think it was executed well, realizing that cartoons do need violence to be entertaining, especially to kids. But yeah, I like this episode. It's just okay. 10th episode is Bart gets hit by a car. Story 6 out of 10, humour 6 out of 10, sentimentality 4 out of 10, enjoyment 5 out of 10. Total 21 out of 40. I need to sum this up by saying, apart from the title of the episode, as well as I know it ends up in court, I don't remember anything from this episode. I Okay, I think what happens in this episode, Bart obviously gets hit by a car, and Homer makes Bart fake his injuries to make it seem as worse as it is, just so they can get more money off Mr. Burns. That would make sense because Lionel Hutz was in this one, and we all know how good of a lawyer he is. Um, but yeah, that would explain a lot. But it's just an okay episode for me. Episode 11 is One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. That took me a while to actually be able to say perfectly. Story is 7 out of 10. Humor is 7 out of 10. Sentimentality is 9 out of 10. Enjoyment is 8 out of 10. I love this episode. Total is 31 out of 40. It's just Homer finding out he has 24 hours left to live, and him wanting to spend the day just doing a bunch of things on his bucket list that he wasn't able to do, and have it tragically taken from him where he can't do everything. It's just depressing, really. And then his whole accepting that he's gonna die, just saying goodbye to each of his kids, and then sitting down on that chair whilst listening to an audiobook of the Bible, I think it is. I think is, well, honestly, if I was in his predicament, I would honestly do that as well. Sit down and listen to the Bible. I'm not even a religious person, but that is a way of just accepting your fate and just waiting for it to arrive. Very emotional it was as well. Didn't make me shed a tear though. Episode 12 is The Way We Was. Story 8 out of 10, humour 8 out of 10, sentimentality 9 out of 10, enjoyment 8 out of 10. Total 33 out of 40. I adore this episode. This episode is set in the past of how Homer ended up with Marge, and I think it's such a sweet episode. Just showing that Homer's a really good player when it comes to it, but also that Marge actually hated Homer at some point, and they met in detention. So much other stuff, and then the ending. Oh my god, why is it? What's it with the ending? Just ending on the best notes. Um, oh, it's a great episode. If there's any episode in this series I recommend you watch, it's definitely the top 5 for my ranking. Yeah. Episode 13 is Homer versus Lisa and the Eighth Commandment. The story is 7 out of 10, humor is 6 out of 10, sentimentality is 3 out of 10, enjoyment is 6 out of 10. Total 22 out of 40. I think this episode's a good one. This is one of the episodes which I have nostalgia towards, as well as Bart Gets an F of this series, and yeah, those are the only 2 episodes of season 2 which I have nostalgia towards. And when I say nostalgia towards like that, it means it's an episode which I had access to when I was younger without using Disney Plus. But for me, this episode was always one of the more boring episodes to me, because I knew what was coming up. I knew about it, and whilst I do follow the 10 Commandments, I don't personally like this episode very much. I just think it's okay. 14th place is Principal Charming. Story is 6 out of 10, humour is 7 out of 10, sentimentality is 6 out of 10, and enjoyment is 6 out of 10. Total 25 out of 40. Now, Principal Skinner and Patty getting together, that's not exactly something I would expect, but the fact that Principal Skinner fell head over heels with Patty to the point where he wants to marry her, and then Patty having to turn him down for a reason which is very understandable, and Skinner just understanding that and accepting it. Honestly, it's the reason why Principal Skinner, along with many other episodes with him in, is why Principal Skinner is one of my favourite characters of The Simpsons. Episode 15 is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Story 8 out of 10, humour 8 out of 10, sentimentality 5 out of 10, enjoyment 7 out of 10. Total 28 out of 40. Oh my god, Danny DeVito, brilliant. But basically, Homer meets up with his half brother Herb, who played by the legend himself, Danny DeVito. And after some hijinks ensues, where Herb ends up losing his entire business, it's a good episode. I really do enjoy it. If there's anything negative I need to say about this episode, I think the whole sentimentality part is just a bit too. Hey, it's all there at the beginning, but at the end, no, not there. 16th episode is Bart's Dog Gets an F. Story 5 out of 10, humour 7 out of 10, sentimentality 7 out of 10, enjoyment 6 out of 10. Total 25 out of 40. This is probably the most unpopular episode of season 2, and for some reason it's very funny to me. I really do enjoy how funny Santa's Little Helper is in this episode, and oh my god, it's so sentimental as well. Because the moment between Bart and Santa's Little Helper, when Bart is trying to not cry after knowing he's going to lose his dog, is something I can't relate to, but something that I've seen so many times in many films I've watched, and each time it is heartbreaking. So that's why I had to give a high sentimentality score. But yeah. Episode 17 is Old Money. Story 7 out of 10, humour 5 out of 10, sentimentality 7 out of 10, enjoyment 6 out of 10. Total 25 out of 40. Now, sentimentality, it's mainly based off Abe, and Abe gets into a relationship with this woman, but being taken, as he was taken away by his family to go somewhere where they didn't want to go to, he comes back and finds out that the love of his life has died. That's depressing. And then the sentimentality goes from them to the relationship between Abe and Homer, to where Abe does not want to even see his son anymore because of what he did. And then he ends up getting a wealthy amount of money and putting it into the retirement home. Brilliant episode it is, especially for Abe. I honestly don't blame him for the action that he did after finding out that his love died. So it's a good episode, really. 18th episode is Brush with Greatness. Story 7 out of 10, humour 6 out of 10, sentimentality 4 out of 10, enjoyment 6 out of 10. Total 23 out of 40. Need to take a quick drink. Oh god, that felt good. Now this episode, I know why it's popular. However, to me, it's just an okay middle of the road episode. 19th episode is Lisa's Substitute. This episode not only has the first 10 out of 10, but the second and the third. Story is 10 out of 10. Humour is 7 out of 10. Sentimentality is 10 out of 10. Enjoyment is 10 out of 10. This episode is the first of the entirety of The Simpsons to actually make me shed a tear. And we all know which part it is there. It is, of course, Lisa's farewell to Mr. Bergstrom, with the whole "You are Lisa Simpson" moment, which, with the way that part was presented, where Mr. Bergstrom said, "I'm going to leave you one last bit of advice, and it's something I want you to keep with yourself to remind you of this." And it's something that anyone can really use, just saying that you are you. It's a beautiful ending. And then the humor, it's a funny episode, but that is the weakest part of it. It's focused more on the male role model that Lisa has with Mr. Bergstrom. That's not even his dad, her father. And Homer's just there acting like as she says, a baboon. And then when Homer goes to try and make things right, Lisa and Homer have a really sweet father-daughter moment. Honestly, it's a brilliant episode. Great ending. Wonderful. 20th episode is The War of the Simpsons. Story 5 out of 10, humour 5 out of 10, sentimentality 5 out of 10, enjoyment 5 out of 10. Total 20 out of 40. Now, honestly, I do not remember much from this episode. I don't remember what it's about. I just by looking at scores, I could tell it's just a middle of the road episode. So, moving on. 21st episode is Three Men and a Comic Book. Story 8 out of 10, humour 8 out of 10, sentimentality 3 out of 10, enjoyment 8 out of 10. Total 27 out of 40. I always found this to be a rather funny episode, just watching Martin, Milhouse, and Bart just stare each other down, trying to get a comic book so the other two can't have it. And I honestly found it kind of funny that three men will argue over a comic book. Now, I understand back then, comic books are like, well, today's version of a phone. It's something that everyone wants, but not everyone can get. And then having to share it, yeah, I understand the whole situation. I relate to it. It's still really funny though. 22nd episode is Blood Feud. Story 7 out of 10, humour 7 out of 10, sentimentality 5 out of 10, enjoyment 6 out of 10. Total 25 out of 40. I personally find this episode to be funny, a good story, but what brings it down is the fact that after the whole blood transfusion and the whole letter crisis is averted, nothing else happens in this episode. I don't remember much from the ending of it, and I'm more focused on getting this episode done so I can go on to season 3 because it's the last episode. It's still an alright episode, but I don't remember much after the blood transfusion. The grand total for Series 2, story is 149 out of 220, humour 139 out of 220, sentimentality 144 out of 220, and enjoyment 144 out of 220. Sorry, pardon me. Total is 576 out of 880, and that is 65% that they have achieved. Now, I'm just going to take a quick drink and then we'll go straight into the ranking for these episodes. So now, rankings. 22nd place, we have Dancing Homer. 21st place, we have Simpson and Delilah. 20th place, The War of the Simpsons. 19, Two Cars in Every Garage and Three Eyes on Every Fish. 18th place is Treehouse of Horror. 17th place is Bart Gets Hit by a Car. 16th place is Homer vs. Lisa in the 8th Commandment. 15th place is Bart the Devil. 14th place is Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. 13th place is Brush with Greatness. 12th place is Dead Puss in Society. 11th place is Bart's Dog Gets an F. 10th place is Old Money. 9th is Blood Feud. 8th is Principal Charming. 7 is Bart vs. Thanksgiving. 6 is Three Men in the Comic Book. 5th is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 4th is One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. 3rd place is The Way We Was. 2nd place is Bart Gets an F. And 1st place is Lisa's Substitute. Okay, so I think this season, especially with the top 5, really nail home the sentimentality. Because this not only got the first sentimentality score 10 out of 10, but also had two or three 9 out of 10s with sentimentality. And those are just the top 4 episodes. Like I said when I was talking about The Way We Was, the top 5 episodes of this ranking, I honestly recommend you guys should check out. They're all brilliant episodes. Now, like with the previous video I did, 2nd place is a episode which I had a nostalgic attachment to, but it got overthrown by another episode. In this case, it's Lisa's Substitute. Why is it always the Lisa episodes which are the best ones? But Lisa's Substitute is constantly at war with Bart Gets an F for the best episode of season 2. And then The Way We Was is always in that top 5 to most people, then One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. Well, if The Way You Was is not in the top 5, that one is. Those 4 episodes are all brilliant in their own way, and all for very similar ways, but they tell so different stories. All of them are wonderful. I honestly adore all 4 of those episodes. And then we go on to the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where it has one of the best guest cameos, or guest stars in there. And Three Men and Comic Book, great small story where it nails home the humour, nails home the story of being a light but relatable one. Then Bart versus Thanksgiving. I don't need to go into that one. It's brilliant. Principal Charming, understandable, made me love Seymour Skinner. And Blood Feud and Old Money. Different, but yet again, very similar those 2 episodes are. But with that is season 2. This is the kind of speed I would want to go through each season of The Simpsons when reviewing them, because there's so many episodes and I don't want to have it be 45 minutes long. So with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the little notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.